So before the break, there was a small thing that we had to discuss, which I left out, and that is the concept of from overheads chapter itself. Concept of blanket overhead recovery rate and multiple overhead recovery rate. So this is very simple. What do you mean by blanket overhead recovery rate and multiple overhead recovery rates? So you have various departments A, B, C. Okay. Now for each department, if you are calculating a separate rate, so you have overheads accumulated for each department, you have the hours accumulated for each department. Now for each department, if you're calculating a separate overhead rate, how? Total overheads by hours. So for each department, we'll have one exclusive rate. So 3 departments will have their own rate. So totally 3 rates. That is called as multiple overhead rate. Okay. And when it comes to blanket overhead recovery rate, what they usually do is they do not basically calculate the overhead rates for each department individually. They take the total of all overheads, okay, divided by the total of all hours, and you get one overhead rate which is used for absorption. So obviously between the two, which is better? No, blanket is inaccurate because it kind of, does not bring about equality. So if a particular department has paid less, has less overheads, it may have to pay more rate. Correct? So blanket is inaccurate. You have to go as per multiple overhead rate. So it's like saying all of you go for a lunch together. Okay, now some people are eating more, some people are eating less. Some people have had non-veg, some people have had veg. Some people have had alcohol, some people have not had alcohol. So now if I take the total bill and divide it amongst all of you, the people who have not had alcohol will shout, I didn't have alcohol, why should I pay for it? Correct? People who didn't have non-veg will say, I didn't have non-veg, why should I pay for it? Because non-veg and alcohol are slightly more expensive than veg food. Correct? Then it's not fair. So that's what happens here also. Whereas in multiple overhead rate, what you have eaten, you pay for that. So the non-veg guys will pay for their food, the alcohol guys will pay for their food, and the veg guys will pay for their food. Then everybody will be happy. Correct? So blanket overhead recovery rate is inaccurate. It does not bring about accurate results. Multiple overhead recovery rate is better, and sometimes in the problem they may have calculated the rates using blanket overhead recovery rate. You need to figure out that it is wrong and correctly calculate the rates if they've asked you to correctly calculate the rates. So if they've said pick the mistake in this problem, then the mistake is that you should not calculate on blanket overhead but calculate on multiple. But if the problem is not saying anything like this, the problem is saying that the policy only is to use blanket overhead recovery rate, using this only you calculate total cost, then please use blanket overhead recovery rate. Is it okay, everybody? So now we'll move on to the next chapter, which is integrated and non-integrated accounts. So integrated and non-integrated accounts. First, we need to understand that we will be doing non-integrated accounts. If we do non-integrated accounts, integrated accounts is a cakewalk. It becomes very, very easy. Okay. So first we will be concentrating on non-integrated accounts. So in non-integrated accounts, you have a principal ledger, which is your cost ledger. Okay. And you have subsidiary ledgers which you maintain. Those are stores ledger, which we saw yesterday, right? For raw material. You have a WIP ledger, which is for calculating your WIP, and which is, the last one is finished goods ledger, for recording all your finished goods. So the principal ledger is the cost ledger, and the subsidiary ledgers are these 3. So all the accounts in non-integrated accounts are opened in this cost ledger. Okay, all the accounts are opened in this cost ledger. So we'll see what those accounts are, okay, in a while. But there are certain features of non-integrated accounts which are very, very important, and that we need to understand. By understanding that only we will be able to solve problems in non-integrated accounts. So first, as the name suggests, non-integrated, which means cost accounts are separate from financial accounts. So cost accounts are separate from financial accounts, right? This is your non-integrated accounts. So anything which is a financial transaction, financial item, will not come in cost accounts because they're separate. That is separate, this is separate. Second, we have nominal accounts prepared in non-integrated accounts, your expense accounts, right? Nominal, they're all nominal accounts. The nature of the account is nominal. Real accounts, we have only 3 real accounts, which are your stock accounts. Which are those? Stores ledger control account. So stores ledger control account shows your raw material stock. So that's a real account. WIP control account, which shows your WIP stock, again real account. And finished goods control account, which shows the stock of your finished goods. Other than these 3, we have no other real accounts. There is no cash account, no bank account, no asset account, nothing. Okay. And there are no personal accounts. No personal accounts, 0. So no debtors account, no creditors account, no personal accounts. So what do? How will you complete your journal entry? So to complete journal entries, point number 3, we open a notional account which is called as general ledger control account, general ledger adjustment account, cost ledger control account, all other names given to the same account. Cost ledger control account or cost ledger adjustment account. So this notional account is open to complete the journal entry because we do not have personal accounts, we do not have real accounts apart from those 3 accounts that we discussed. Guys, okay? Now 4th point. What do we do in non-integrated accounts? We pass journal entries. We prepare ledger accounts. Ledger accounts are prepared in the cost ledger, the primary book. Correct? And we prepare a trial balance and P&L account, which is called as costing P&L account. Balance sheet not prepared. How will we prepare balance sheet? What will we show in our balance sheet? Nothing can come in the balance sheet. Assets are only not there. Liabilities are only not there. Everything goes to general ledger control account. So balance sheet is not prepared. Apart from this, we prepare one more statement that is called as reconciliation statement. Reconciliation statement. What is reconciliation statement? Now obviously your cost books are separate from your financial books. So in your financial books you are going to apply the principles of financial accounting. In cost books you are going to apply the principles of cost accounting. Both principles are different. So when both principles are different, profit calculated in both books will also be different. So you need to prepare a statement reconciling the costing profit with the financial profit. So that is called as your reconciliation statement. So in this particular chapter, we have 3 kinds of problems. First problem is on non-integrated accounts. You will be asked to prepare ledger accounts or past journal entries, whatever be the case, using non-integrated principles. Second, integrated accounts. Okay, now what happens in integrated accounts? So you will be asked to solve problems on the principles of integrated accounting. And the third kind of problem is preparation of reconciliation statement. So they will give you various data which relates to financial accounting and cost accounting. So first you will prepare the profit statement as per financial accounting. Then you will prepare the cost statement as per cost accounting, which is nothing but your cost sheet. So there you will prepare financial P&L account. Here you will prepare cost sheet. Then you will show the reconciliation statement reconciling both. So I have put 3 problems in this particular chapter. First problem is on non-integrated accounts, full blown. Second problem is on integrated accounts. Third problem is on reconciliation. Yes. So shall we start? So now at the back of your book, last, I've given you one colored chart. Do you see it? See, it looks like this. Right? So we are going to understand our non-integrated accounts from this chart. Okay. So what are the accounts that we open under non-integrated accounts? Okay. Let's see one by one. So I'm going to put a number on each account. You think of each account to be a bucket. So I've drawn a bucket there. Things are coming in, things are going out. Okay. It's a bucket. So I'm going to put the order of opening the accounts. So the first account is stores ledger control account, which we open. SLC account. Where are these accounts opened? In the cost ledger. Remember I told you principal ledger was cost ledger, and in that cost ledger you open all these accounts. Okay. So stores ledger control account 1. Please write 1 there. Guys, please write 1 there. I'm showing you the order of opening. 1. Next, this is 2. Wage control account 2. So as the name suggests, guys, SLC, stores ledger control account, everything happening in the stores in relation to raw materials will be recorded here. Next, wage control account 2. Everything related to wages, whether direct, whether indirect, doesn't matter. Everything will be in wage control account. 3. Factory overhead control account. That is my third account that I will open. So factory overheads will be recorded here. Next, 4. WIP control account. WIP control account. So everything about production, will be recorded here. Production means WIP. Okay. 5. AOH control account. Administration overhead control account. So all your AOH will be recorded here. Next, 6. Finished goods control account. So everything related to finished goods will be recorded in FGC account. So guys, stores ledger control account is like your stores, raw material. WIP control account is like your production. Okay. And FGC account is like your warehouse, where you are storing your finished goods. So 6th account is FGC account. 7th account, selling and distribution overhead control account. So SNDOH recorded here. 8. Cost of sales control account. 9. sales account, 10 costing P&L account, and 11 last account, GLC account. So you see everything goes to GLC, that's why it's a bigger tub. Guys, okay? Now we'll run through each account. Only the first 3-4 accounts are heavy duty. After that it becomes very easy. Okay, because all entries will come here. The entries that come here, the double effect will be given in the other accounts. That double effect we're not going to understand, obviously. So let's first go through SLC account, Stores Ledger Control account. First of all, Stores Ledger Control account will have an opening balance and it will have a closing balance. Opening balance means opening stock of raw materials. Closing balance means closing stock of raw materials. So I've written it here. Correct? Now, first entry. First entry. Purchase. Purchase of raw material. In your accounts, what entry would you have passed? Purchases to? Yeah. Purchases to, you would have passed an entry like purchases to creditors or cash. In non-integrated, purchase by itself is not there, but everything related to raw material or purchases is happening where? Stores ledger. So SLC, this will get replaced by SLC. 2. Creditors and cash, both are not there. So where do I transfer? GLC account, General Ledger Control account. Guys, okay? So the entry will be SLC to GLC. SLC to GLC. Because I can't have cash, I can't have creditors, so everything goes to this notional account, GLC account. Correct? Next. Return. Return to whom? To supplier. So ulta. GLC to SLC. Correct? Reverse the entry. Guys, next. Issue. Issue to whom? Production department. In our scheme of things, what is production department? WIP control account. So who's receiving the material? So what will you debit? WIP. Who's giving the material? Stores ledger. So what will you credit? Stores ledger. So what will the entry be? WIP to WIP control account to SLC account. SLC account. Correct? Now, return from production floor. Now the production department returns the material. They don't want. Now who's receiving the material? SLC. Who's giving the material? WIP. So reverse the entry. So SLC control, stores ledger control account debit to WIP control account. Guys, very simple, no? People hate this chapter. This is my favorite chapter. I can teach this chapter as many number of times as possible. It's such a brilliant chapter. But people hate it. I have no idea why. It's so easy. Okay. Guys, next. Suppose I am sending material towards repairs and maintenance. Now listen. Every kind of material should go from SLC. That is the focal point for material. When you issued material here, right? When you issued material here to your production floor, which material did you issue? Direct material. So anything which is direct, this will come in wages also. Anything which is direct will directly go to WIP. It needn't go through FOH or AOH or SNDOH. OH means indirect. Correct? So anything which is direct will go directly to WIP. So that's why we send it to WIP here. But Here, what did I say? I am issuing material towards repairs and maintenance. Repairs and maintenance is what? FOH. It is FOH. So if it is indirect material, then it has to be routed via our overhead accounts. It cannot directly go to production or FGC or WIP or whatever the case may be. The overheads will take care of it. So repairs and maintenance, material is going from stores to repairs and maintenance. So repairs and maintenance is signified by which account? Factory overheads control account. So entry will be FOH control account debit to stores ledger control account. To stores ledger control account. Guys, correct? Same thing. Issue of indirect material. Indirect material, if it is factory, then it will go to FOH. If it is towards office, AOH. If it is towards selling, selling and distribution. So entry will be either FOH or AOH or SNDOH, whatever they have given in the problem, to SLC account. Because stores is losing the material. Guys, correct? No? Okay. Now let's test y'all. Guys, remove this transfer. Transfer we've already considered. Just remove it. Okay. Shortage. Yesterday we had done, no? Shortage material chapter. Remember that last sum we had done. So shortage was of two types. Normal, abnormal. Now look at this SLC account and tell me according to you what could the entry be. Abnormal, you tell me. Abnormal means costing P&L, which means if shortage is of abnormal nature, it should go to costing P&L account. So entry will be costing P&L account debit to stores ledger control account. Now go to that problem that we had done yesterday. Go to that problem. I'll also go. See that entry. See this. See this treatment of shortage as abnormal loss. What entry did we pass? Correct. Correct. Now you understood this entry. The guys who didn't understand, what did I tell you? I'll bring you back to this entry. Yes. Yes. Okay. Now if shortage is normal. Normal shortage means it could be treated in two ways. One is FOH. One is by inflating cost. What did we study yesterday? Inflating cost means no journal entry, because here I've already inflated it. The purchase only has taken care of it. Yes or no? So only if I'm treating shortage as factory overhead, then entry will come. So what will the entry be, guys? If I'm treating it as factory overhead, FOH control account debit to SLC account. So see here, didn't we pass that entry here? See this? See this? Correct? Passed it? Simple? Done? Okay. So these were the entries that could come in your stores ledger control account. Okay, these are the different kinds of entries that could come. Now, let's move on to account number 2. Of course, guys, we use so many accounts here, right? We used FOH account, AOH account, right? So when we are doing factory overhead, I will not come back to this entry. It's understood, no? Ulta will come there. Double entry. Journal entry has two aspects to it. So we've already discussed it here. Yes or no? We'll only discuss those entries which we have not discussed till now. So second bucket or second account. wage control account. As the name suggests, all wages will be recorded here. All. So first entry, incurrence of wages. Incurrence of wages. What do you mean by incurrence of wages? Wages have been incurred. So in financial accounting, what would you have? What would your journal entry be? Wages to cash, correct? Or bank. Do we have cash bank here? So what will we pass? GLC. So what will the entry be? Wage control account debit to GLC account. To GLC account. Wage control account debit to GLC account. Guys, correct? Now, on one side I have incurred my wages. Now I have to charge my wages. Because wages also could be direct wages. Wages also could be indirect wages. So now if wages are direct wages, what entry will you pass? Direct means WIP. So that means wages will go to WIP. So entry will be WIP control account debit to wage control account. Charging wages, direct wages. Productive means direct. Guys, correct? No. Anything indirect, either it will go to factory, or it will go to admin, or it will go to selling and distribution. So if it is indirect wages of factory, where will it go? Factory overheads. So FOH control account debit to wage control account. To wage control account. And if it is related to admin, where will it go? AOH control account debit to wage control account. Right? And similarly, if it is related to selling and distribution, selling and distribution control account debit to wage control account. So wages could go to all these places. Guys, correct? No. Apart from this, we could have one more adjustment in wages. If you remember yesterday, we had done the first problem. 48 hours, 44 hours. Remember, something like that we had done yesterday. So what if there is normal idle time and abnormal idle time? So again, normal idle time could be treated in two ways. One was by inflating wage rate. If we are inflating wage rate, no entry will come. If we are treating normal idle time as FOH, then what would the entry be? FOH control account debit to wage control account. To wage control account. And similarly, if it was abnormal idle time, how did we treat it there? Costing P&L account debit to wage control account. So I would want you to go back to that problem, please. That first problem under labor chapter. Go to the first problem under labor chapter. See this? 960 rupees wage control to general ledger incurrence entry. Yes. Then WIP costing P&L, because here in the first case normal idle time was treated by inflating the wage rate. So if normal idle time was not there, what will happen to these wages? Out of 960, 785 was productive time, which means WIP control account. 175 was abnormal, which means costing P&L account. So I have merged the entry there. You can pass separately also, which is WIP to wage control, 785, 785. Then again costing P&L to wage control, 175, 175. Ultimately the effect will be the same. And when normal idle time was treating it as FOH, what entry did we pass? First we passed the incurrence entry, which was wage control to general ledger control account. Then what did we pass? 720 went to WIP because it was productive, direct wages. FOH was normal idle time because here we are treating normal idle time as FOH. Costing P&L was 160 because of abnormal idle time to wage control account. So wage control account basically closes. Guys, correct? No? This is what we learned now also. So why am I doing this? To connect all the concepts. Is it clear? Now, so this is your SLC account and your wage control account. Now we'll move on to the third account, factory overhead control account. So guys, factory overhead control account first entry will be to incur. It's an expense, it has to first be incurred. So what would have been your entry in financial accounting to incur this expense? Expense to cash. Here what is my expense? Factory overhead. But we don't have to cash. So what will you do? GLC. So FOH control account debit to GLC account. To GLC account. Correct? This is the entry that you passed for incurring the overhead. So guys, when we did our overhead problem, what did I show you? I showed you, no? If you draw the overhead account, 40 lakhs came here, 47 lakhs came here. This was the incurrence entry. And here what did we take? 40 lakhs, which was the absorption entry. So here also you will do the same. I've taken the incurrence entry. Charge means to absorb. Guys, please remember, factory overheads always gets absorbed in WIP. That's why you will see one arrow going like this. Do you see that arrow? Do you see that arrow? Yes. So factory overheads always gets absorbed in WIP. So what will the entry be? What will the entry be? WIP control account debit to factory overhead control account. Absorption entry. So as per this, 47 has come here, 40 has come here, right? So now we need to treat this difference, no? Which we just studied, under / over absorption. So guys, from this, what can you see? Your debit side is 47 lakhs. Your credit side is 40 lakhs. So where will the balance come? On the debit side or the credit side? The balance will come on the credit side, which is 7 lakhs. This is debit balance or credit balance? This is debit balance because the debit side is heavier than the credit side. So guys, I will write it here. When debit side is greater than credit side, it means we have debit balance. Correct? No? And debit balance means what? Debit side represents what you have incurred. Credit side represents what has been charged. So if I am getting debit balance, it means debit side is greater than credit side, which means what I have incurred is greater than what I have charged. So what is that? Under absorption. So I will get under absorption. So in other words, debit balance means under absorption. Guys, did you all understand? Debit balance means under absorption. So what do you do with this under absorption? I was telling you, no. Don't do that normal and abnormal. That's what I was trying to tell you. So what did we do in overheads chapter? We figured out, okay, this is under absorption. Now I will segregate it into normal reasons, abnormal reasons. That problem in itself is a 10 marker. Imagine you have to pass all these entries and do this also, not possible. So in this chapter, if you get under or over absorption, what will you do? You can do only two things. Costing P&L account. You transfer this to costing P&L account. Correct? Or carry forward. Carry forward if the question is telling you to carry forward. If the question is silent about it, please transfer it to costing P&L account. Is it okay? Everybody? Similarly, now in this particular problem, this was debit balance. Now let's say this is 40. This is 47. Now which side is bigger? Credit side is bigger than debit side, which means 7 will come here. What balance is this? Credit balance. So debit side represents what? Incurred, actual. Credit side represents what? Absorbed. So here I have absorbed more than what I have incurred, which means credit balance is over absorption. Correct? So come back here. Incur is less than charge, which means I've absorbed more, charged more than what I've incurred. So this is over absorption. Over absorption. So please write debit side is less than credit side. If debit side is less than credit side, then what will happen? Credit balance. Credit balance. So over absorption means credit balance. So what will you do with this? Same two things. Costing P&L account or carry forward. So the question should specifically state that the policy of the organization is to carry forward this expense. If that is the case, you will carry forward. Okay, everybody. Another way of looking at this carry forward is, suppose they have given you trial balance, opening trial balance. Opening trial balance will be given for opening stocks of your SLC, WIP, FGC, right? In the trial balance, if there is a balance of FOH or AOH or SNDOH, what does it mean? It means that from previous period it's come into this period, no? Which means the company has been carrying forward. So that is an unsaid hint to you. So even if the question does not mention explicitly, from the trial balance you can figure out that the company has been carrying forward. So you can also carry forward and write a note. So look at the trial balance. But if the trial balance has no overhead account balance, and if the question also has not said what to do with it, then what will you do? P&L account. Guys, is this clear to everybody? So very, very important. So this goes to your WIP account. So now we'll go to WIP. That's all. These three were major accounts. Now everything is very easy. So WIP, what happens? We have opening balance, closing balance. Of what? WIP. So WIP opening balance, WIP closing balance will be there. Then all these entries, wherever WIP is coming, obviously will come here. The only new entry is that from WIP, where will my goods go? My goods will go to, yes, so you can show an arrow. Okay, the arrow is already there. Arrow is here, see. It will go to my warehouse. Because in WIP, the production floor, I'm going to complete manufacturing. Once it is manufactured, it will be transferred to my finished goods control account. So in your finished goods control account, when it's going, what should the entry be? Finished goods control account debit to WIP control account. Guys, correct? So one more thing that I have not discussed. Direct material we discussed. How it comes to WIP. Direct wages also we discussed. Suppose there's a direct expense. let's say royalty was paid. That we didn't discuss. Royalty is not part of FOH. Royalty is not part of wage control. Royalty is not part of SLC. So what will you do with royalty? Then you will open a royalty account. Okay, you open a royalty account. So first entry in royalty account will be what? To cash or bank, but cash or bank is not there. So incurrence entry to GLC account. What is this? Incurrence entry. Now this account has to be closed. How will you close it? By charging it. Where? Guys, where will royalty be charged? It's a direct expense. Royalty is a direct expense. Didn't we see it in chapter 1? Casio calculator. I'd given you an example. So royalty is a direct expense. Where will it go? WIP. WIP. All direct expenses will directly go to WIP. So what should the closing entry be? WIP control account to royalty account. So by WIP control account. So direct expense entry will be what? WIP control account debit to direct expense account. Guys, okay? What did I tell you about direct expenses? Everything will go and attack WIP. So royalty is a direct expense. So first pass the incurrence entry. For all expenses, that is the common rule. First you show that you have paid them. Then you allocate them. So this here, I have shown how it is charged. But you can draw this diagram. I mean, draw this particular thing here. Example for direct expense. Example for direct expense. Guys, okay? Sure? You're all fine? Shall we proceed? Okay, now next. AOH control account. So guys, same way, like the way we did FOH, now we're going to do AOH. So I'm not going to take too much time. So again in AOH, debit side, credit side. Debit side will show my incurrence. So what should the entry be? AOH control account debit to GLC account. Incurrence entry for AOH will be AOH control account debit to GLC account. Now just like the way your FOH is charged to WIP control account, AOH is always charged to FGC control account. So what should the entry be? FGC control account debit to AOH control account. So again the same problem will happen. Debit side will show incurrence, credit side will show absorption. So depending on which is bigger, I will have my debit balance and credit balance. So suppose debit side is bigger than credit side, what will happen? Same thing. Debit balance. Debit side means incurrence is more than charge. Charge is credit side, which means I have incurred more than what I have charged, which means what will happen? Under absorption. So in other words, under absorption is debit balance. Same thing. Whatever we did for FOH, no change. What will you do with this? Costing P&L account or carry forward? Guys, correct? No. Same thing, no change. That was FOH, this is AOH. That's it. That's the only difference. Similarly, if credit side is bigger than debit side, if credit side is bigger than debit side, then what will we have? Credit balance. Credit side is bigger means absorption is more than incurrence. So I've absorbed more than what I have incurred, which means I will get over absorption. I will get over absorption. Same thing, whatever I did for FOH. So if there's over absorption, what do? Costing P&L or carry forward. Right? So now this is over. We move to FGC account. What is new in FGC account? Nothing. Opening stock, closing stock will be there. Of what? Finished goods. Because this is FGC. All other entries, double entry effect you give. The new entry is from FGC. Where does it go? It goes to cost of sales control account. So what should the entry be for transfer? Cost of sales control account debit to FGC control account. So I've shown an arrow mark also. Yes or no? Now, next entry. Selling and distribution overhead. Guys, same. Absolutely same. First you incur. What will the incurrence entry be? SNDOH to GLC account. SNDOH to GLC account. Charge entry. So you have to charge. Now, SND is charged to cost of sales control account. So FOH was charged to WIP control account. AOH was charged to FGC control account. SND is charged to cost of sales control account. So entry will be cost of sales control account debit to SNDOH. To SNDOH. Charge. Same problem will happen now. Debit balance is more than credit balance. Debit side shows incurrence, credit side shows charged. So if debit side is more than credit side, then I will have debit balance. Debit balance means under absorption, which means costing P&L account or carry forward. Same thing, correct? Similarly, if debit balance is less than credit balance, then what happens? I will have credit balance, which means when I am showing my debit balance, it means incurred. When I'm showing my credit balance, it means absorbed. My absorption is more than my incurrence. That's why I'm getting a credit balance. Credit side is heavier than debit side, which means what? Over absorption. So over absorption means costing P&L or carry forward. Same thing, no change. Guys, easy? Yes? Okay. Now I've charged to cost of sales account. Now what happens in cost of sales account? All the entries ka double effect will happen. Apart from that, the new thing. Now cost of sales account receives from SNDOH, receives from FGC. Now what happens to the cost of sales account? From cost of sales account, my goods will go to P&L account. Cost of sales. Correct? So transfer entry in cost of sales will be what? Costing P&L account is going to receive this cost of sales. So entry will be costing P&L account debit to cost of sales control account. Correct? So cost has been completed. All costs I have considered, I have completed everything. Now, separately, sales account. Now in sales account, two things will happen. One is you have to record sales. How would you record sales in financial accounting? Debtors or cash to sales. So here what will the entry be? GLC to sales. So GLC to sales. You are recording sales, incurring sales, whatever be the case. Please write it. GLC to sales. Now you have recorded sales. Now sales account has to be closed. How will you close it? Transfer it to costing P&L account. So sales to costing P&L account. Sales to costing P&L account. Sales account closed. Now in costing P&L account, one side I have cost of sales, other side I have sales. So what is the difference? Profit or loss. So this profit or loss, balancing figure is profit or loss. Where does this go? This goes to GLC. That's why I've shown an arrow. So this goes to GLC. Guys, is it okay? Everybody. So GLC is like a dustbin. Whatever you don't know how to close goes to GLC. Okay, so in the end, this GLC will have a balance. Okay, this GLC ka balance will tally with all the other accounts which have balances. Guys, is it okay? So just like the way other accounts, which are the other accounts? FGC, WIP, SLC, all of them have balances, opening balances. Correct? GLC also will have an opening balance. Suppose opening balance is not given, what do? Add up all the opening balances of all the other accounts. You will get the opening balance of GLC. Okay? If they have given it, good. If they have not given it, this is how you do it. But if other accounts have opening balance, GLC will also have an opening balance. And you will see that the closing balance of GLC will tally with the closing balances of all the other accounts. Guys, is it okay? Everybody? So this is your scheme of non-integrated accounts. So shall we quickly solve a problem? Once we solve a problem, we will be thorough. Shall we? So let's start. Go to your problems. Guys, come to the problems. First problem.